Good evening, everyone. The board convened for a non-public session under RSA 91A3 to conduct personnel interviews. I'd like to call the public session to order of the Monday, September 23rd, Ware Board of Selectmen meeting at 7:07 PM. If you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item we have is public comment. Anyone for public comment?
I just have a question. My name
Yeah,
is Harlan
could you
Hadley.
please make sure that the green light is on? If not, hit push.
Oh, now it's green.
Awesome.
Yeah, my name is Harlan Hadley. I own property on the John Connor Road, and the reason why I'm here. I sent a letter and attachments on the 1st of August to the town, and I was just wondering if you folks had received your copy for viewing.
This is regarding the stone wall and those
Yeah,
sorts of
drainage.
things. Yep,
So you have it.
yes, we have it, and Jason is on the agenda tonight to talk
Okay,
about it.
thank you.
You're welcome to
That's all I
stay.
need to know.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment?
Ray Banks. I've heard that there's been some conflicting lot lines on the Buzzell Hill Cemetery. Don't know if it's been resolved or not with the town or whatnot. I have all the maps that, with that partial of the cemetery that is in question. Haven't heard anything back. I've tried stopping in a couple times. I know that Naomi's busy and everything. She takes time off. Everybody does. But I'm just in one of those situations I kind of hit her, miss her. Either way, I just haven't had a chance to reach out to somebody, so I figured this would be the best way to do it. To
And-
say, hey,
Yeah, specifically, you're asking about East Ware Cemetery and
Yes.
the property that's next to basically your driveway?
yes.
Okay. All right. So as far as I know, that is answered. I don't know that it's resolved in terms of paperwork.
Okay.
So-
Can somebody get a hold of me so I have the maps? We may be able to figure this out much easier.
I will certainly ask that be done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Appreciate you
And
coming in.
The other question I have, paperwork that you guys may be interested in, is the maps for all of the gravel pit. These are the perks that were done before the sale. This is back in 1995.
So now we're across the street?
Yes, on
Okay.
East Road.
Okay.
That was the purchase of the Schmid gravel pit.
Okay.
And
Sure that somebody would probably want to take a look at those, yeah.
Okay.
If, information's good.
Well, I have a lot of it.
Okay.
And the last key thing is I've been waiting to hear what's going on with the field because I have not put a building up. I'm trying to figure out which way I'm going to go, what type of building I'm going to be putting up. If somebody could get back to me and let me know.
That's still an open issue. We've been working with legal counsel, and it's still an open issue.
So how long do we think this is going to be an open issue? Because
I wish I
it's
had the
tying
crystal
up a
ball.
lot of time for
Yeah.
me and money.
Yeah. Well, I apologize, but I think we need a little bit more time.
Is it by spring?
I don't know if I can say that, but
We would like it to
Or,
be.
or
but we can't
somebody, or
guarantee it.
somebody
Yeah.
could call me and give
Yeah.
me updates on progress or non-progress. Would be much appreciated.
I think we're hedging, we just switched town councils, we're kind of starting fresh on some of it to make sure we have really rock solid advice before we make any, very permanent decisions.
Okay, Thank you much for your time.
Thank you.
Would you like me to drop these today or come by the office?
If that's a copy, we'll certainly take
These are
them.
not copies, but I just brought samples of what I have.
Okay, so you need copies made?
Yeah, I would. I mean.
And I would like you to keep them
I
until you
will
get
keep them and-
copies.
Yeah, I also have the, books of all of the assessments and all that stuff also,
Okay,
so.
wonderful. Appreciate the info.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else for a public comment? All right. All right, so that brings us to department head committee items, and first on the agenda is DPW Director Fisk. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, first on the agenda is secondary containment for our waste oil storage. This was brought to the board's attention June 5th of last year. Kinda made a plan of what we were gonna do, showed the board some of the verbiage as far as the codes, from DES. And made a plan, kind of stopped there. We didn't have any money to go forward with this, but with our new permit by notification and all the other things that we're doing at the transfer station, this is something I'd like to see us get done, just so we can be in compliance. So we put a bid out, we got one bid back. I reached out to multiple local companies. I got a bid from North Peak Construction out of Concord. So that's what you guys have in front of you right now. Before we go ahead and, well, actually, go ahead and discuss more if you guys have any questions or.
So where would this actually be funded out of?
We'd have to take it right out of the bottom line,
From your department or from
Yeah.
the town?
out of the
Okay.
public works, yep.
Okay. Is there a specific line item that you wanted attributed it to?
I mean, we can put it to building maintenance, but, like, it is a bottom line budget,
Right.
really.
Yeah, but in order to characterize it
Yep.
properly, you
Yep,
want it
nope.
out of building maintenance?
That's fine. I talked with the finance director. We are gonna have enough money without dipping into any payroll funds. I know that's a little bit of a concern, but before you guys make any decisions, I'd like to talk about the next,
I have one follow-up, and then
Yep.
I'm not sure if anybody else does.
Yeah.
You said it's a compliance issue. Is that a DES compliance issue?
yep.
Thank you. Okay. Anything on this one?
Yeah, so, I believe it was said this is for oil?
Waste
containment?
oil storage,
Waste
yep.
oils.
Yep, it's how we heat the highway department.
And it's gonna go, where is it gonna be going?
It's gonna essentially go in the lean-to, that's on the salt shed. We're gonna take one of those bays.
Any question?
No, it sounds like you said you want to talk about landfill at the same
would.
time. And that's the only one that I'm kind of torn on, because we knew that was a DES compliance issue, and we still went to the town to ask for that money.
Thank you.
That's where my head is right now. We should pursue that.
So what you have in front of you is a bid for landfill repairs. Per our contract, CMA Engineers put together a bid package for the Public Works Department. There was a pre-bid site walk. 5 interested parties came to that site walk. I believe due to the accelerated timeline of this project, we only got one bid. It'd be J. Bates and Son. You guys do have the option. I talked with CMA a little bit about why we only had the one bid when there was so much interest. There is a possibility that we could put this out to bid again, and try to get it done in the spring. But we did push DES to get us our permit to go ahead and do this work. And they said that they'd like to see this project done this year. It's been, obviously, we had to wait for a town vote to get any funds to do it last year. So that's kind of the situation we're sitting in. As you can see, the cost is 24-ish thousand dollars higher than what was allocated during the town vote. Did talk with finance. Again, we couldn't find any other funds that we could take money from. So we do have enough in the bottom line, Public Works, to do this project. But I wanted you guys to take a look at that and make that decision with both of those bids in mind.
Yes, my gut says if you could go back to DES and say, hey, this came in way over what the town approved, what I'm thinking, if we would like to put this back out to bid, as you say, accelerated timeline, try and smooth that out, make sure DES gives us a thumbs up and do that. And if they say, no, it has to get done, or we're gonna start finding you every day, like was the original threat, then we can do
Yeah,
that math.
I got we worked with you last year on letting it go all winter until town vote. We really want this done.
So you have contacted them?
Yeah.
Well, how much are they gonna fine us every day?
That I don't know.
I mean, at some point, there's a break even on this.
I'm sure the fine is gonna be more than $24,000 in 6 months until we do something.
Yeah, it'd be like $100 a day, maybe, if I'm doing that right.
So we need the secondary containment to get the PBN.
We don't need it to get the PBN, but we get the PBN, somebody comes looking around at the way things are done.
When do we have to submit the PBN?
Should be in the mail.
It should be now in the mail. You haven't put it in yet.
Well, no,
Is
it's in the mail.
You've submitted it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know as far as coming back to us, but
So it's a potential fine if they come out.
yeah, they both are.
The supplemental unit price on 1A, the $4,360 a day,
Yeah, that's a per day price.
is that,
That's if there's, a rip in the liner.
uh-huh,
That's a liner crew.
okay. And at this point, we don't expect there is one, correct?
We don't believe there's one,
I know
but
you won't know till you actually get in
yeah.
it, but yeah. So it could be above and beyond that, correct?
it's possible.
Okay.
If we said yes, when are you looking to start? I know it says fall. Like,
So the bid award got pushed back by a week because, we were supposed to award it last week, but, start date was supposed to be today.
so, a week from now?
Does anything else on your list have to do with money from the bottom line?
Not out of my department, no.
Okay.
Yes, I would ask Beth if I could put you on the spot. Can you tell us how much you anticipate DPW having, excuse me, in their bottom line, excluding payroll, and then same thing for the town? Because really, this amounts to a $40,000 overage on these two items that we need to account for somewhere. And if you tell me, well, DPW is gonna have 41, well, that's tough. Or even worse, 30.
There's still, as of right now, 82% of vehicle fuel left. It's $174,000.
How much of that do we normally burn in the last couple of months, though?
The rate was
Pretty high.
pretty high,
Yeah.
so,
It doesn't seem like it'd be a linear burn.
no, I mean, end of December, 25,000.
Yeah.
We're still gonna have at least $100,000 left.
In that
In
line?
vehicle fuel alone, yeah.
For DPW's budget, just their operating budget, not including payroll surplus, looks like they're gonna come in at around 56,141 under budget, just in their operating. And then town-wide, but this includes payroll as of August 31st. Oh, getting to the bottom. $297,571.
297,571.
Yeah, but that includes
But that
payroll.
includes payroll.
That does.
So that's even a little bit higher than you reported a couple weeks ago, right?
Yes.
So how does that align with what, excuse me, what Jason was just saying about 100 something left in, I guess you're assuming that we do burn all that fuel money?
That's fuel maxed out, correct?
Nope, so Jason and I spoke last week, I think it was last week. So what we did for his fuel, I gotta go back up. For his fuel, budgeted was 212,000. So far to date, he's only spent 37, so I forecasted that he's gonna use 160,000. So in that line alone was 52.
Of the 56?
Yeah, because some things are over, some things are under.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
What'd you say your estimated spend was on the fuel?
160.
160. But you're thinking it's gonna be 60.
Yeah, I think me and Beth just talked on the safe side.
So conservatively, that 56 under budget could probably be 80 to 90. Is that
I don't wanna.
accurate? To be conservative?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. As long as we don't get a bunch of storms between now and then.
Yeah, no, understood. But there's probably at least another 20, 25. So probably somewhere up around 75.
Here's the numbers at the end of August. From that one when you're done. What they're expecting, what they just wrote in, was the spend of 160.
Yeah, okay.
So that should give you that number, obviously. That's the budget, if they spend 160. That's where we were at, including payroll.
Okay.
So this is what she has at the end of August. She just said 160 is the estimate. So that includes all the labor.
I guess I'm still at, that's not a small amount of money. We've seen that you're able to take some pushback from us back to like some of the bridge stuff and get some things reworked. I would like to see if we could push back on DES and say, hey, this was way over. Because I thought, maybe I'm wrong, I thought the 150 we even talked with them about.
I'm pretty sure that, let me double check, but I thought that was right on the money where we needed to be. We did come in higher on the engineering, their original estimate, looks like is where, where some of that money is from.
What were those numbers, the estimates at the beginning?
The first was just a general estimate from them, because we didn't know if we were gonna go with CMA for all the engineering stuff. They gave me around 30,000, and ended up being 43.
But, and that is fixed spent money now, right? Or is that still to do?
Still
We
to
haven't
do.
spent it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I am. I think we should try and get a little more grace from DES and see if we can bring this down with a longer lead time on the bids heading into like spring.
Your thoughts?
And if they refuse?
Then we're right back where we are right now. The caveat being Jay Bates and Son may walk away within a week, but
So we push it out possibly one more week instead of starting next week, the week after. So,
Yeah. As a worst case to me.
I think that's best worst case. That it's a week later. I think your worst case is they walk away.
Sure, yeah,
Right.
yeah, sure.
And then you're not getting it done this year.
yeah, and DES says no, and then we are in trouble.
Yeah. So if we were to make a motion, 150,000 would come from the landfill repair and maintenance capital reserve fund, and the 125 would come from general fund.
Like, this is enough money to me that I would even be willing to say we should do, make phone calls, whatever you need to do tomorrow. We can have an emergency meeting tomorrow night to do this if we need to.
You can.
It's $24,000 of other people's money.
I'm okay with that.
And just in and out, 5 minutes, whatever.
Yeah, I just don't wanna put us in a bind where
Yeah,
we
yeah,
lose everything.
yeah.
Okay. Do you want to defer both till tomorrow?
Yeah.
May as well.
What time do you want to get back together?
Can you do that, Jason?
I'll make it happen.
Yeah, I can do whatever tomorrow.
What time can you meet? There's a meeting in here at 6:30.
I'm at work all day.
How soon can you be here?
Anytime. I have nothing tomorrow.
I can,
I have to take my trash to the dump tomorrow. I can have a meeting there anytime tomorrow.
you can be as early as 5,
5:30?
5:30 is good.
5:30?
Sounds good.
The only question I have is whether or not that meets our requirements for posting.
Well, and I guess that's why I proposed an emergency meeting, but, because I don't think it would.
I think we only have to have 24 hours. We could meet at 7:30, 7:45.
Again, I can do whatever. Flexible.
Beth, suggestions, please.
Haven't you done, postponements before?
Like a continuation?
Yeah, continuation, thank you. I mean,
That's a good idea.
because everyone who knew about it tonight is informed, and they're here, or watching, and they are aware that it's being continued tomorrow night.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay. All right, well, we will reconvene for those two topics tomorrow at 5:30 PM. All right.
We all good with that?
Yep.
Okay, revolving fund. I know we talked briefly about this a couple weeks ago. Just want to highlight on a few points. From 2022 to 2024, the rates that our vendor has charged us for demo have gone up 42%. I'll focus on demo because that's kind of the bulk of what's going on with the revolving fund. And from the years of 2022 to 2024, we've gone up 42% in our charges. So being finance went back those 2 years just to make sure that it wasn't anything that we could have possibly been missing. So that's that. I think,
Hey, Jason, because when you say 42%, is that hauling rates? The hauling rate includes everything?
that's not hauling, that's
Just the fee
what-
that
that's
they're
what
charging for the actual
charge
demo?
per ton.
Okay, thank you.
The hauling's gone up $40.
Per load?
Yeah, from 22 to 23, it went up $40. That contract's gonna be up this year, so, who knows what that's gonna be. We've had a lot of turnover at the transfer station as well. It's not really helping, that case. I think there's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different full-time people in the last 2 years up there, 2 or 3 years. If you go back to 22, you can add another 2 people to that. So we are seeing people who are backing up, throwing some stuff and peeling out of there before anybody can get to them. I did talk with the guys up at the transfer station to make sure that they were keeping a better eye on that to hopefully mitigate that. So we are taking steps forward. We are doing daily logs now of what we take in, descriptions, prices, just to make sure that we're on the up and up. I don't know if there's anything you guys have any more.
I guess for people that are driving up and dumping and running away, do you have any thoughts about how we can handle that?
We thought about possibly a chain across. I know it would make things slower, but if that, takes away from people doing that, you have to have somebody come out and take the chain down for you and inspect your load without you getting in and getting out as fast as possible. So that might be something that we put into effect this week if we can come up with
And currently, there's not a sign or anything that says stop, you must see
There
attendant
is.
before dumping?
There is.
There is,
Yeah.
but they're just not doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that back more towards the building though?
It's
Or is it
right,
up
it's
closer?
right next to the trailer.
Do we need to move that further out so we're stopping before we get to the trailer? Possibly.
Yeah, we can try.
Your choice. If you think the chain's a better avenue.
I think it probably is. I mean, if people aren't paying attention to the sign now, I'm not sure moving it 10 more feet's gonna help, but
Chain stops you.
yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Or if you could put the sign on the chain so people don't think it's closed?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, oh yeah, okay, gotta go. They'll move it for me.
Any more questions from you guys on that?
Is everyone using roughly the same mentality when they're charging per load?
That's another thing I had a conversation with the guys about, just trying to make sure that they get on the same page
Okay.
as far as,
Can we maybe write up a procedure or
yeah, so
something?
they do have a cheat sheet right on the door that leads out to the demo, with the calculation on what they need to do as far as measuring and multiplying, dividing to get there. There's a shelf right on the wall, right next to there with a couple of tape measures and a calculator, just in case.
Okay.
So I had a conversation with them, say, what do you guys need from me? If you need any tape measures, you need another calculator, let me know. So we should all be on the same page as of now.
Can, can this be a monthly conversation?
Sure.
Just updates and changes, whatever needs to be said.
Anything else for Jason on revolving fund? Okay,
If you don't mind, I'd like to skip around a little bit.
sure.
Bolton Field, last week, I believe it was, had the guys go down, they added some gravel down on the road down there and in the parking lots, calciumed that stuff, rolled it, compacted it real good. They did a really good job down there, and unfortunately, it didn't last 12 hours and somebody went down there and did donuts in the parking lot, so that was kind of a low blow for us, but Parks and Rec Denise sent over an email thanking us for it, so I want to make sure that was acknowledged. So that's that on Bolton Field.
While we're still talking Bolton, Denise was here, we allocated some ARPA money to get an enormous amount of bark mulch for over there.
Sure.
I think she had discussed looking for volunteers to help with that. Is that something that DPW would be able to help with? Have any amount of time to help with?
As far as equipment,
Yeah. Just taking, I think they said they're gonna have 2 tractor trailer loads of mulch sitting in the parking lot, and they just put it up in the playground.
how many yards are they getting?
It was a lot. What is
A live floor, typically 90 yards.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was closer to 200. So it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if they get it delivered, we can probably go down there during our normal operating hours and spread some, or at least put some piles around everywhere so people can spread from the piles.
Yeah. Okay. And that would be, yeah. I'm asking, like, is it possible? So, don't stretch too thin if it's, like, not actually.
Yeah, like I said,
But if you
if,
can, that'd be great.
if they let us know when it gets dropped off, if it's,
They were talking November.
Tuesday through Friday, and I got somebody who's free for a couple hours, send them down there in a loader, that'll be okay.
Okay. Thank you.
I think it was like 270,
Okay.
3 loads.
3?
no.
Oh, they were looking at 2, and they got a third, like, for the same price. I thought it was 2 for the price of 1, but maybe it was 3
Right.
for the price of 2.
Yeah.
And it said 134 yards is enough to do 1 playground, and we were gonna get double that to do both, to do the entire playground.
Okay.
This is her handout. You wanna look at it? I can't take it apart, but it'll fall all over the place if I try and get it out. Yeah.
It's 134. Regardless, it's a lot.
Okay. All right.
We'll go to Chase Park. I essentially made a presentation for the Board of Selectmen April 17th of '23, kind of on cost, what was needed. We never could get asphalt down there by the time the lake was drained down. I did suggest Parks get a sign for the boat launch indicating no power loading. I don't know if that's happened or not. We did go down there this spring. We cleaned up a bunch of storm damage, and we did get down onto the boat launch. We did take care of the giant hole at the end of it from people power loading their boats. Got down there, rakes, shovels, and did that. Got it all flattened out, smooth. We'll see, I guess, what the result of that was when the water goes back down. There is an asphalt plant that is open year-round. I know we're looking to extend that ramp about 10 feet or so. There was talks about the whole project costing about $3,000. That was asphalt at about $10 less a ton than it's going for this year. Estimated about 26 tons to do that, so you're looking at that much more money this year.
Somewhere around 3,250, 3,500, roughly.
Yep.
We mentioned there was a permit. We have a permit that's gonna expire. Is that true?
I believe there is a permit, I think
Okay.
2027. I know you were on Park
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
thinking 26, but, yeah, maybe it is 27.
I don't know when the lease is.
It's not this year.
Yeah, I don't know when the lease is up.
That was part of the
either.
problem, why we didn't do a bigger, more expensive
Yep.
renovation, which is still, I think, still a question mark.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it's really up to you guys where the money's gonna come from. I know there's mention that Park had money in their revolving fund. I think last year I raised the question whether the money was gonna come from DPW budget or from Park, so.
Yeah. In my mind, it
If
would
we can
come-
get it done.
It would come from the park revolving fund. If Park is interested in spending that money, then they would ask us to. But I guess what I would like to see is Park pursue the lease question, and if we can resolve how much longer is the town going to have that property? And if it's quite a bit longer, then do a bigger fix. And if it's unknown, or we know it's gonna be a short amount of time, do like an asphalt fix. And if, I would ask Park to do this research, and, then if they choose that they need that quick asphalt fix, to spend it out of the revolving fund.
Don't know why we would think that DPW would pay for it, so.
There was talk about it last year, but again, that was a different board, so.
Was it me?
Well, you were there, but
Yeah.
I don't
One
want
dumber
to,
last
Spend
year.
park funds.
I don't remember.
You didn't wanna
Honestly.
spend park funds last
Yeah,
year.
you were on
Yeah,
Park.
right.
You did-
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
I don't remember.
And by longer-term solution, what are you talking about?
Uh,
Like, just a total rebuild kind of thing, or
The-
is there something in between there?
What I have seen proposed, and you may remember better than I do, Jason, like tear it up, do concrete.
Concrete's the way to go.
Yeah, and then something with ridges or whatnot. There was something more interesting than just a ramp. But it was quite an involved cost. There was a state grant available, but I think we also didn't pursue that for similar reasons. It was, I think it was a 90% match on that one, if I remember right. The same thing, why would the town put 10% into something expensive if we're just gonna be giving it up in just a couple years?
Okay. All right. So,
I know that TA just asked me where I was at with this project, so I just wanted to give you guys a update on where the Public Works Department stands on it.
okay.
Okay, John Connor Road. Like Mr. Harlan Hadley had said, you guys all got the same letter I got. I did go out and meet with Mr. Hadley out at his property earlier this year. Talked with him after some flood damage that we had out there. There's no doubt that he does have a valid complaint about what's going on over there. Did talk with him. I believe it was my misunderstanding. He said he wanted some future consideration on what we did over there. I believe I did, not so much blow him off, but just said, hey, we won't go over there and push more dirt over your stone wall. So to this point, we haven't. I do need to get back out there and repair a section of his stone wall. I did speak with a relative of his that I know and worked with closely for a couple years. He said that there has been problems down there with the road since the early 2000s. He can obviously speak to this a little bit more. I think it'd be valid to let him come up here and kind of talk to you guys if you'd want to. I think it's a kind of a big project to fix what has been done down there for the last 20 years.
Is there a distinction between the road and his property, or are they intertwined as far as the fixes that you're talking about? Just
This-
trying to segregate if there's two problems or one large problem.
So the road has been built up. I can't tell you where it started back before this, but it is, kind of up to the top of his stone wall. The only solution I could see is digging out a foot of John Connor Road, which would be a very large undertaking in that section. There is drainage that would need to be redone. I know this has been obviously brought up to some previous public works directors, so again, it's kind of going to fall on me to try to work out a fix here. Unfortunately, with how short-staffed we've been, just not a project that I've even thought we could take on this summer, so.
Okay, well, if you want to defer to Mr. Hadley, that's fine with us.
Would you like to speak to it at all?
Well, I can if you wish.
Have at it.
I can just talk over it. Yes, my name is Harlan Hadley, and this concern that I've had has been going on quite a while, and Jason is really, he's inherited it. It's not of his doing, by any means. And we sent a letter back around 2016 when there was abrupt amount of change. And I think within the letter that I sent you, we sent you the photographs, and they're all dated. It shows the damage that had been done on that short period of time by that agent that was in charge of that road. And the starting of it, so you have a little handle on that, was sometime right around the 2000 mark. At that time, there was a different road agent in charge, and my father was still alive, and he just brought up the comment, well, it looks like the road's getting a little high coming up to the wall. And at that time, it had never reached the point of crowding the wall over. They had just built the road up enough and widened it out in the V, because it's a V. You got a bank on one side, and they're just trying to widen the road. So from that period of time on, from 2000 to 2016, it was pretty static. They were probably doing what they were doing, a little bit of sand and for snow and et cetera, grading. But in 2016, there was a really good hammer on the widening of the road, and you can see in the photographs that I had sent to you about this. And it's not just an old rambling stone wall, that is a retaining wall. And if any of you would like to come to look at it, you may. There's places in that wall that exceed 6 feet tall, that are nearly 12 feet tall, and they're all laid up out of cut stone and other stone. In the process of doing so, when you drive out on top of that, and I think in one of the photographs, that was dated on 2016 with the size of a grader or whatever, it's crushing the road out and down. And in the process of grading, I've never run a grader. I don't, and I can only imagine if you're trying to cut a ditch line on that side of the road, and if you run the moldboard down to create a faux drain on that side of the road, you're pushing the top of the wall right out. Because that grader probably weighs around 20 ton, and if you put down the moldboard and you grade the road, you're pushing the dirt down and you're pushing the wall out. And so the damage is pretty extensive. I showed one place in the wall, the spring to Jason, which he inherited, where the wall has been pretty much completely destroyed and pushed back. There was a barway there at the time when the road was of normal stance, and they pushed the granite post right back against the tree. So the wall's pushed out probably like 3 feet in that one area. The overburden from the wall, which I call the scrapings off the top of the road at times when grading, either from one side or the other, is being graded right over the top of the road and right out over the edge of the stone wall. And that's happened over time too. The reason, if it keeps going, I'm probably going to lose about 10 feet of my property. And not long ago, I had to ante up nearly $10,000 to keep this land as it is, because they did an aerial survey, and because of the transfer of the property from my family directly to me, changed its status. You had to have 10 acres to be in current use. So I had to give the town the $9,300. Probably part of the reason why I'm here, I don't think I should have to lose property that I own after I've had to pay $9,000 to own it on top of that. In that widening this road, in effect, I don't believe it's really needed. I spent 14 days of August in this field, to re-clear it, and you could count all the cars that traveled on the section of the dirt road on 2 hands for a whole day. And that's 5 in the morning, maybe 5 in the afternoon. On the other end of the paved end, coming off from the Thorndike Road, or the road going to Lake Horace, you could probably count a lot more cars, but all those cars turned on pavement and they kept going up to the housing development. So the road is not really being consumed by heavy traffic. So in the process of widening the road, to take property from another owner, I don't think it's valid. It was built with great care. You've got the photographs. At one time, there was a pipe rail fence that ran 3/4 of the length of the road. That's pretty much all wiped out now, and I'll push down over the wall onto my property. Parts of the wall are pushed down. A lot of it's buried. If you get up to one end of it, it's really been consumed by trying to widen the road. And really for no real advantage that I can see. There's both sides to this road widening. You've got land on the other side. And from what I see, if you're going to build houses, you have to accomplish through the planning board a traffic flow, and you have to come up with funds to take care of the road that the traffic's going to entail. So by just, and they did a starter job down at the other end, by the way they paved it in from the road that goes to Horace Lake and on up to the housing development. All I can say, I really don't feel that I should lose my property. And I don't think that that wall, if it's left in the shape it is, and if Jason's been out there, he might have seen it, is falling apart. And every time you drive on it with large equipment, and at the time, it's crowding it right out, and it won't stand forever. So I feel there should be some kind of a means to either, over a period of time, to restore either the wall where it is, or that if it's really intended that this road needs to be in excess of what the grant was intended at the time that that road was invoked. Almost all of these old roads are on grants, and they came from the parties that own the land on each side. And if that has to exceed that, and they need that extra 3 feet of property to drive on, I think that wall really should be, replaced with a drivable material. And they do make it. It's all precast, and you can just stack it up, like Legos. So if that road has got that traffic count that it needs to be there, then I think that should be a, consideration if it needs to be there. As far as the drainage goes, I'll make it short kind of on that because I've talked a lot on the road. The drainage has been kind of an ongoing issue, and that was shown up back in 2016 also. On the south end of the field, which is going towards Quaker Street, that end of the field entertains all of the drainage all the way from the last culvert up the road towards Quaker Street. Both sides of the road, I get all that drainage, and it runs out of all the driveways, and I collect it all. And as of this spring, they had to clean up that end, I guess the end of that culvert, and in the process of doing so, it kind of enhanced that drain more. So now any gravel has been spewing directly right out onto my property, and I do believe you have that photograph also. And it's only gotten worse. I did put up a silt fence to try to contain that, but that's not going to last forever. And I just think there should be some kind of consideration. If you can't place that drain over the property that it exits on, then there should be consideration that I get compensation to put that water across the field with a drain that's of a proper, stature to carry it, not basically just a swale that's going to collect gravel. It's got to be somewhere we got to collect the sand and gravel at some point, and then if it's got to be drained off, it's got to be drained off so it's not just making a big mess. At the north end of the property, again, probably when that was built, there probably wasn't a planning board that was really considering all the ramifications that can come from when you pave a side hill that's got a pretty good slope to it, that you're going to pick up all that drainage. And the person that put that road in at the time was once a road agent, which was Mr. Towns, and he probably should have known there should be a culvert under that side of that road. So when the water comes down off from that Grandview Drive Road, it goes up and around, and there's an adjacent driveway off to the left, and that picks up all that water. Well, a lot of it does go off down the right, and it's pretty much carried out to its proper location, but the stuff that comes down on the left side of that pours right across the road, and every time takes the surface of the road with it. So at that end of the field, the stone wall that was once there is now gone, and there is a big embankment that's occurring right into my property, right through the trees. Back in 2016, so you do have an idea that there was a little bit of restitution for a very short time. The acting, road agent, when I had sent that first letter to them, complaining, did go over with a backhoe or whatever he used, and he did pull the road back. And that was, for a very short period of time. It probably wasn't advantageous to go through the winter with it, because it would have been a problem. But I think there needs something that's really got to be done, either on a step-by-step basis, and it's got to be written out and managed and done. I know it's expensive to fix stuff that's been done, but I think there's other things to look at on that road than just crowding it all, just crowding it all over to one section. I guess that's as much as I can tell you today.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I certainly didn't get all that from the pictures, so I appreciate the extra context.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
So I guess moving forward with this, I'll tell you, we did take some steps as far as Mr. Hadley talked about the north end with drainage on Grandview. We did go out there this spring and try to take care of some of that water that's coming down from up atop of that hill. So I think the plan as of right now for Public Works is we'll develop a plan, what we need to do over this winter down there for the springtime. I'll make sure that myself and Mr. Hadley are in agreement on what we need to do as far as that goes. And hopefully, like he stated, if we have to do it step by step, we will. If we can tackle it all at once, we will. But yeah, we'll take care of it.
You may or may not be able to answer this at this point, but is there or was there a concerted decision to widen the road, or does that just happen based on, it just happened?
As far as I know, there was no ultimate decision. I wasn't with the department in 2016 when
Right.
any of that happened.
But I didn't know
but,
if you had done any background research or anything.
I can't, yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay.
How old is all that Grandview stuff?
I think it's at least 30 years. Yeah, late 80s, I believe, right?
Yeah, but I'm gonna say the change of the road at the bottom has changed the drainage,
Yeah,
because you
Sure.
lost any place for the water to go, as I see it. I mean, as you widen the road, you take away the west side drain that's along the road, and that is, once that gets widened out too far, you just don't have drainage. And the road gets to be too high. So,
that's it for me.
Appreciate
Unless
you
guys
checking
got
into that.
anything.
Obviously, Mr. Hadley probably doesn't want to wait till spring, so can we put something more definitive than over the winter?
I will certainly work with him as much as I can,
Okay.
yeah.
it is a big problem, and I understand, it takes time to fix it, little pieces.
No, but as far as getting a plan
Right,
together, yeah.
something to talk about to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
on what, we can do.
Perfect.
We'll be fair about it, too.
Good.
We'll be fair.
Good.
Yeah, can we talk about this monthly as well? Just updates,
Sure.
please. Just don't want to lose sight of it.
Okay. Mr. Hadley, thank you very much for giving us the information. It's very, very much appreciated. It added a lot of context for me than the documentation, so thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, no problem. Good?
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You do.
Thank you, Jason.
Chief Moore?
So if you don't mind, I'll defer to the fire chief and the cable committee, because I think I'll be longer than both of them. I think that short agendas.
That's okay with me. Thank you for that.
So we're just,
Do you have anything other than the,
I do, I have one thing. I believe you folks are gonna be talking about the lawn maintenance contract
yes, we are.
tonight. So, one thing I wanted just to propose to you folks there. The cistern part of that, the bid for the lawn care, I was hoping that the approved budget last year for mowing of the cisterns was $8,725. I was gonna ask the board if we can, number one, save a little bit of money, but take that lawn care, and the fire department would assume the lawn care, and we would take care of mowing of the cisterns. And since we had, which I've talked about in depth before, the condition, I guess, of the cisterns and how much work we needed to get done on them, and we only had a limited budget. I think there was only $500 in that line item. I was wondering if we were able to move the lawn care down into the cistern line, and instead of $87.25, maybe just make that like an even $7,000 and move it down into the cistern line. And again, the fire department, we would take over the responsibility of the mowing and clearing the brush and all that other stuff of the cisterns.
Would you have to get any equipment to do that?
Yes, yep, we would have to initially, I would imagine there would probably be, a couple $1,000s for equipment. We're just buying a push mower, a weed whacker type stuff, to have at the station. Probably all battery operated, that's what everything is going to now. So we wouldn't have to worry about any kind of engine maintenance. No one would have to try to start it or have problems starting it or things like that. And that would also, again, give us the necessary funds moving forward that we could do. I got a quote last year, which I think I told you guys about, for the mobile blasting, that people come out and they would, mobile blast the scale and everything else off the pipes and stuff of the cisterns. And not all of them need maintenance. I have gone around and personally looked at each cistern and put them into a grading. So there's probably maybe a dozen that we have to do. So I just think if we were able to move that line item, that we could start working on that and cut the budget a little bit too on top of that, and get some of the cistern work done, and then we would, again, take over the maintenance on that.
So this draft that we have has about a full page of cisterns, dry hydrants, and fire ponds.
Correct,
So you're proposing all of that?
correct. We would maintain all of that.
Have you seen this document?
Yes, I have that. Well, I have the same contract right here.
Yeah, that's basically, so would this whole thing just go away? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much,
You
yep.
wouldn't have to
Nope,
contract it out?
nope.
Okay.
The only
So
thing,
there's
the only
not
thing,
part
that-
of it that
the only
still
thing that would
exists.
still be contracted through the lawn care maintenance that I would still want to have done is actually the safety complex and the fire stations, the east and south.
Okay. Sorry.
And there's not much of east anymore.
You're welcome.
So, so South Station and the safety complex would be the only ones that I would, but as far as the cisterns go, the dry hydrants and fire ponds, we would do that. Assume that responsibility.
Can you do it with current staffing?
Yes. Yep. See, the whole thing is we go out and we test the dry hydrants anyways, and we go out and we're flushing them, we're doing training on them, we add chlorine to them during the course of the year, you know. We actually visit probably most of them twice a year anyways, so to go out and do the maintenance on them, I mean, some of them, this past year, I don't even know if they even went out and mowed them. Actually got complaints from citizens saying that, when are you guys gonna mow the cisterns? And we're not in charge of that, so.
Okay. Well, I think we can talk about that. Do you mind if we just talk about it when we get to the RFP, or do you want a decision now? I can tell you what we decide. You don't have to stick around. if you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell me what you guys decide, cause you have other people need to get up.
Okay.
I just wanted to say my
No?
speech
Appreciate you
and save a
trying to
little
figure out
bit of
ways
money
to
and.
Do things with more, or do
Exactly,
less with more.
exactly, yes,
Do more
correct.
with less,
Do more with less.
whichever the right way is to say it.
And, did you guys want to talk about Scott? Does he need to, Mr. Sanborn, does he need to stay here, or?
No, but we'll go ahead and do that now, though.
Okay.
I would accept a motion to hire Scott Sanborn for the position of firefighter EMT basic at the rate of $22.05 an hour, with the start date TBD pending affirmative physical report. Standard probationary period per the personnel policy would apply. Would anyone like to move that? Is
So moved.
there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say yes or yay? Yes? Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, motion passes. So Scott, once we get your physical report, they can set you a start date. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Scott.
Thank you, chief.
Hi,
Good evening, Selectmen. How you doing today?
good, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right, what can we help you with tonight?
I think we had two
And
meetings.
for the record, the person that takes minutes, could you say your name?
Oh, yes, sorry. My name is Andrew Lemeries, Chairman of the Cable TV Committee.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andrew.
I think the two biggest things that came out of our last meeting were to ask if we could get the name changed of the Ware Cable TV Committee. Reason being is that cable TV is kind of a lost term on a lot of folks these days, and we were wondering if maybe the Ware Multimedia Committee might be a better suit, since we do cable TV and we manage the YouTube section a little bit.
Okay. What's the second thing?
And the second thing is, we have a policies and procedures document listed in the Ware website. That seems a little bit old. I think it's dated for either 1994 or 1997. And I'm guessing the procedures may have changed and maybe need a little bit of updating.
Just a little? They still
Just a
say you can
little.
send in cassettes or something, doesn't it?
I think it does.
Okay. Do you guys have a timeline for getting that done?
We hadn't set a timeline. We weren't exactly sure of the procedure to get those kind of changes made, or who would need to suggest any updates needed to it.
I think typically, and correct me if I'm misspeaking here, the committee comes up with a draft of changes and presents it to us, and it's pretty much, unless there's something objectionable, shouldn't have issues.
Roger that.
We've been seeing that right now with a handful of committees either being created or shoring up bylaws and whatnot. They're working on it independently, and then they'll come to us and we'll give it a thumbs up.
All right.
Yep.
Awesome. How would be best to deliver that document to you?
If you have a
Cassette.
draft,
Cassette.
if you have a draft, you can send it to us by email and we can start reviewing it in advance. But the best thing to do is to present it here, so that everybody can hear it, you know, from the audience or that's watching along at home. So, yeah, we do have a fair amount of people that watch via YouTube, so appreciate you guys making sure that happens.
We got at least 350 subscribers, so
That's pretty good.
definitely.
As far as the name change goes, you said Ware Multimedia?
We're a multimedia committee. Yep.
Okay. Beth, if we change the name of the committee, does that have any impact on the revolving fund? Do we need to update that as well, as far as the name? Because I believe it says cable in it.
Yeah, but I think the purpose,
The
I'll read the
purpose.
purpose to see if that'll affect it, but
Okay. All right. We need to do that before we approve a name change, or?
give me 1 second, I'll
Oh,
just read the
okay.
purpose.
Okay. Real time.
I've been sitting here trying to remember, I thought it was a town thing, discussing updating language to go to multimedia. I thought it was cable to multimedia for something else. What was that? It was in a spreadsheet. But that was meant to include, it's from the master plan subcommittee. That's one of the items in the questionnaire, and we're talking about, changing the cable specific language to multimedia, but that was, at least in that context, was also gonna include like Facebook and whatnot, which I presume you're not interested in.
I wouldn't like to run the Facebook page, no.
So that's the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause, is we were already talking in a different town entity about one form of the word multimedia. Or, I mean, if that's the best word, then maybe, because we haven't formalized the survey that we're putting together, we'll just pick a different word.
Actually, the name of the fund is called the Community Access TV Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. Cable's not even used in the name. And the purpose for which it was established was for purchasing equipment for the local public television station. So, Cable Channel 6. But it doesn't use cable in that name at all.
Other thoughts?
I don't see any issues with the name change.
Okay.
I do see your point with the media being closely tied to social media as one of the medias it might contain, though.
Yeah, that would be my concern, is that people think that it's all encompassing, and really you're about broadcasting the meetings.
Right.
So is there something we can get that's more closely aligned to that? Or, I don't know, I have no idea.
I'm sure we can brainstorm something closer to leave that section out of it at least.
Is public access still, would that cover YouTube as well?
It is. I have to look into it a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure that would still be considered public access. It is free. You just have to have, well, I guess you don't even have to have an account to view anything on there. So that might work a little better, public access.
And you don't have to pay a subscription fee to cable,
Yeah. Best part about
so
it.
it's even more public.
I agree with you.
So, yeah, I guess I would propose, kick it back to y'all to figure out any policies you want to update and come back to us with that and a new proposed name.
And we can do the both separately. You can come back with a name change, and you don't have to have all the policies in place.
I appreciate that.
Because I think that's gonna take you more than another meeting.
I think so.
Yeah,
A few pages to go through.
yeah. I believe you guys are probably aware, if not, let me tell you, that in 2024, there was a warrant article number 14 in the amount of 30,000 placed into the Community Cable Access TV Capital Reserve Fund. So that fund now has a balance of over $53,000. So
So there's equipment that we could get if.
we would like to know how you're going to spend that money,
Alrighty.
or prioritize what you're going to spend it on.
We will definitely come up with a plan for that.
Okay.
And a lot of the discussion last year was, there were 2 channels, one of them for the school, and the school had stopped using theirs. And this is all for you to confirm and verify and see if it's the right plan, but this is kind of the rough idea for why that money was asked for. They didn't seem to be using that channel. There are a lot more committees, subcommittees, meetings seem to be getting longer. We're having a lot harder time keeping things from overlapping. So there was discussion about, can we outfit the room upstairs, just like this room is outfit, to do YouTube stream and go out on the, what we think is the defunct school channel.
Do we know what channel that is?
I think it's 9, I think.
I can definitely check on it, sorry. I think the only concern we had about that room was the soundproofing, but I'm guessing we could try to come up with something to work with the soundproofing in there out of the fund you had mentioned.
Okay.
All right,
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate your time this evening. It was very nice having you guys in.
absolutely. Nice to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, so we will start with the radio tower picture. If you go by 888 Concord Stage Road, the base foundation, the first stage was laid today. And you can ask him with that. The second stage, which is the tower part 7x7, will be poured once the bottom is burned up. And that's when two-way will come in,
Wow.
put the guide on the top, which is in the fire station already, and then they'll sink the anchors while the concretes are wet. Then it's just a matter of waiting for it to cure for 30 days. So progress, whole lot of progress. With that, two-way was projected to start on towers October 1st. Obviously, that's got to cure for 30 days. They can start on the other 3 towers. In the packet for the radio towers, I have a memorandum of license, a Toby Hill agreement, a Norris Road agreement. I've corresponded with two-way communications, confirmed that rent, which was referred to in the original draft, there was none. It was worded weirdly, I forget, intentionally deleted or something is what they put. I questioned it and they just removed the entire rent portion of it. It was confirmed, there is no rent. We are on the tower with no reoccurring fees. In the agreements, pages 6 and 7, there was also an insurance request. I'd already sent that off to Primex. I was informed that was sent to their legal division to review it, and once they review it, we'll get certificates of insurance. We just have to provide the certificates of insurance within 30 days of acceptance of the agreement. These are pretty standard from what I saw. It's a 5-year agreement. It renews automatically as long as nobody wants to pull out of it. It does mention FCC radio authorization. Two-way's already completed that. I do have a copy of that. It's just a printout. We're authorized to channels. So that step's also completed. If anybody wants to look at it, you can have at it. But if the board approves entering into the agreements, then they have sent a DocuSign document, which is the last page of your packet.
And I guess it's figuring out who actually signs these. I don't have a problem signing them if the board authorizes me to, but I don't know if I'm the appropriate authority, or if it's the town administrator or the chairman.
Have we given you authority to sign leases before?
No.
Okay.
Contracts,
Yeah.
agreements, I don't think I've ever signed a lease.
Okay.
I don't see why we couldn't.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm not opposed.
Okay. So there are 2 documents that need to be signed, or 3?
Three, there's a memorandum of license, which pretty much establishes that these are 5-year agreements. And then there's a separate agreement with plan schematics for that actual site, for both the Norris Road site and the Toby Hill site.
Sorry.
And just for the people at home, it pretty much goes off, here's what we're doing to each tower, what type of equipment we're putting them on. It provides a layout of where the equipment will go. The fact that as the leasee, we can go on site to inspect and repair the equipment at will. There is no rent or reoccurring fees. We're required to keep insurance on it. Like I said, Primex is the town's insurance carrier, so they're taking care of that portion. But that's pretty much the gist of it.
So the memorandum of license, in Exhibit A, it only covers Toby Hill, is that correct?
No, the memorandum of license covers both, I believe. It just establishes that these are gonna be 5-year agreements. Maybe I didn't print out the other one. No, that was everything printed. Oh, you're correct. Yeah, Toby Hill. I thought it was for both. I thought the
Do
back.
you need 2 of them?
I don't know, I'll ask tomorrow.
Okay.
They only sent me one. And they sent this in the first draft version. They didn't include it again in the second draft version. Because on the first draft, I caught they had the town address incorrect and wanted to confirm the rent, and they had misspelled Toby.
The way it's written, it looks like both parties have to agree every 5 years.
Yes. But there is something in the back, in both of the agreements where, and I'll see if I can find that real quick. I was looking at that. If nobody objects, it renews by default, is how I read it.
In the tower and ground space lease agreement, it does have that language.
Okay, thanks.
This license agreement shall automatically renew unless licensee shall notify licensor in writing of intention to not renew at least 120 days prior.
Thank you.
And really that addresses the next question I was gonna have about that on the memorandum of license is what do we have in place to make sure we don't forget in 5 years? And maybe if we could see about adding this automatic license into that one, automatic language into the memorandum of license.
I can ask about it.
Because we saw that with the Comcast agreement, they're supposed to be every 7 years, but we did it in like year 9,
Oh, sure.
and that was. And I guess another difference there is on the memorandum of, with that automatic language, they have the option to not renew it. But it looks like we do not have the option to not renew it.
So both, same type of 120-day notice.
Yeah, just say it like license, what would it? Licensor notify licensee. really, I guess either party shall automatically renew unless either party notifies the other. I don't know why we would, but,
Oh, no, because then we'd have to get on other towers.
right. It just, I don't know, there's something that sticks about,
One way.
yeah. It's supposed to be two-way, right?
Yeah. Did you get that?
Well played.
Did you get that? Yeah, two-way. Anything else?
No.
They got back with me pretty quick with the last question, so I'd imagine they'll give a quick response.
Yeah, so it looks to me like this memorandum of license might not be necessary.
And it might not be, because like I said, they didn't attach it to the second version.
Yeah.
I just happened to pick that up tonight, that it wasn't there. Instead, I had the DocuSign document.
Yeah, I think all they need to do is add that into this Exhibit A, move it from here to here,
Yep,
because this is blank still.
okay.
I don't know, the one that's for Norris Road is blank. The memorandum of license only has Toby Hill description in it. And the tower and ground space license agreement for Norris Road. I said it's blank, and the one for Toby Hill
Yeah, no.
has information in it on Exhibit A. So I'm thinking you don't need this memorandum of license, but if they could verify that,
This-
Will do.
This refers to this, though.
it does.
It's, second paragraph, licensor and licensee entered into a tower and ground space license agreement. I agree, it doesn't seem to make sense, because this has signature lines, and this has signature lines. And this one is saying we agree to this one.
Yeah, maybe it's because of the term. I don't think the license agreement itself has a term on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the case, then we need two of those.
Yep.
Memorandums of license. Okay. So I think there's still some holes in it, but who do we want to sign it once it does get fixed?
I don't have a preference.
I'm comfortable with Chief Moore signing.
Okay. Do you want to see them again before we give them that authorization? Or do you want them to
Not a
get it
bad
fixed?
idea.
Okay,
It should be quick. No problem.
okay.
And then, did I understand correctly that we're getting these right now because they're gonna move ahead on these two, and then we'll do?
No, they haven't told me a definitive date, just projected. They were supposed to start, October 1st. This extra week shouldn't hold up anything, because they can always start on Mine Hill if they were really planning on putting boots on the ground next week, October 1st. We'd have to have these finalized before they can start working on these two locations. And of course, we'd have to wait 30 days at a minimum for, East Station.
And I guess what I'm getting at is, are we gonna do another version of this for the East Station?
No,
Have we already?
that's our tower.
Oh, yeah, okay, great. Yep. I knew I was missing something. That's what I was missing.
All right, next we have the 2025 Tahoe that I'll be proposing for CIP as a warrant article. This is just seeking approval. We had sold two PV vehicles, which was the old Ford Explorer and one of the Dodges at the White Farm auction. We got $16,600 from the sale of both of those.
Is that what
And
we netted or what?
That's what we netted after all their fees. So I'll be seeking approval to use that to offset the cost of the next Tahoe. 10,000 from the special detail fund, and we're doing quite well with that fund. I'm projecting being able to give at least another 2,000 back toward December. Right now, after we did the first 8,000, which we reduced by 2,000, giving the 2,000 back, we're at 5,300 already since that time, which was only a couple months ago. And then 6,000 from the Everett Dam patrols. So if those three sources are approved, the 2024 cost of the Tahoe was $79,711.79 once it all came to be purchased. The 2025 projected Tahoe cost is $83,660. And then offsetting those, it was like 51,000 and some change, if those funds are approved. I can do the math real
You've
quick.
got it 51,060.
There you go, thank you. Yeah, I forgot to write that down on my notes. And we can do that first, and of course, another proposal that I had to reduce the cost, and this is a proposal. Everybody's seen Car 1. I've had a lot of positive comments from Car 1. If you look at the Dodges, the colors fade on the graphics after a few years. It's not due to sun exposure necessarily, just because both sides of the car fade, and if it was a sun-related issue, the passenger side of the vehicles would be faded at a much greater rate. So it's just something to do with the color. The graphics vendor we use stated because there is no color in the graphics that were put on one, they won't fade. They are reflective. They're visible. And I've had nothing but positive comments. And it is a $400 difference between what was put on one and what's put on the color graphics. So it saves $400 if we were to go to the black on black. But I'd seek the board approval to do that, since that is kind of which direction the public would like to go with those. We're fine either way. It's just a couple $100 we would be able to save if we did do that.
And you would need to know that by,
No rush.
by
That's
the time
easy.
you put together the warrant article.
Yeah, and I can even get finance committee on that, or not approval, but input if you guys want to hear that, and CIB committee. I mean, there's no rush on that. That would I could still put in the warrant article for the bigger amount, and then obviously if we only spent $1,200 on graphics rather than $1,600, just like any other funds, it goes back in the general fund back to the taxpayer. Correct, Beth?
Yeah, but if we didn't have to ask for it, because we know we're not
sure.
going to use it, that would
Yeah.
be even better, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So does this meet the definition of what the public would consider a fully marked vehicle?
I would say yes. It is fully marked. It's marked police all sides. It's reflective. It's visible. It's just how much visibility you want on a cruiser. There's just no color in these graphics. I mean, if I had my way, we'd have gray cruisers anyway with these black graphics, and it'd look awesome, but we can only get black vehicles. That's all we get up in New Hampshire, pretty much.
That was similar to the question I had. We had a whole discussion earlier this year about graphics on vehicles, whatnot. Is this, so in this picture is what you're proposing, right?
Yes,
Is
that's a
this-
picture of actual one.
So we reached a compromise.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, is this what that looks like? Or is that different?
No, that's it. That's,
This
Okay,
is
just making
command
sure.
one.
Yep,
This
making sure
is-
I understand.
yeah.
yeah. And if you shine lights on those, it's, like you're shining, that's a flashlight, essentially. Very highly reflective.
I'm of two minds. I like that it's cheaper, but I like the color.
Yeah, that's no problem.
I don't
I'm
know, I'm
seeking
on the
input.
fence, like right this second, I'm on the fence, I don't know.
Yeah, no rush on the decision, something to contemplate. Yeah, the only thing I'd like to get locked in is the other 3 accounts, just so I can get an idea. We go to CIP October 15th.
Do you have anything you want to add on the color? No color?
I mean, it fades, but it's still visible. I mean, it's still
Yes.
vibrant enough that it's not an issue.
Yeah, on the Dodges. It just doesn't look as good.
Right.
So I think this is probably a question for Beth. If we say we're going to allocate this money for basically buying down the cost of the vehicle, what's the process for that?
Nothing, that's just how he's gonna present it to CIP. CIP might come up with another idea and present it to you that way, but after CIP, it goes to you. You can change it at that point if the numbers are changing.
And the money would have to be encumbered by the end of the year for that, or is it out of 25 money?
This is all going around 25.
Okay,
Yeah, it just keeps building.
okay.
And
Alright.
the warrant article is written, it's just gonna be lengthy.
I guess, I haven't talked about it for a couple of iterations now. I like consolidating on the Tahoes and getting rid of the Dodges, which we keep having issues with.
Severe issues.
And we did have another one towed today, by the way,
Okay?
transmission.
So I'm comfortable with the White Farm money. I think it's reasonable to take vehicle money and turn it into more vehicles. Though I guess it makes me wonder, do we do the same thing with plow trucks? What happens to plow trucks at the end?
We get a trade-in value from the
Okay,
dealer.
okay.
If it's not a good one, then they try
Yeah.
to sell them.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily opposed to the other two, but it is the same drum I keep beating.
Same what?
The same drum I keep beating now of, man, that's a lot of money.
Well, so the special detail fund, it has to be
Yeah, you're
proportional
right.
to the use, so we're required to use it for some type of police equipment, and since we used it proportional to the use of the vehicle this year, it's very easy to
Yep, yep.
justify. If we waited, I would have a hard time justifying it, because there's no telling how much we've had a lot of details in town this year due to the replacement of the telephone poles, and then we've had a lot of paving jobs, so a lot of spend. This is by far the biggest detail year I've seen. By far. It's usually nowhere close to this. So we had a low year of details. It's not like I would be able to take this money and apply it to a low year. I need to apply it in the year that it actually occurred for it to be proportional per the town attorney.
So you're taking the opportunity since it's here? Or requesting to?
Now, dam patrols, that's totally different. We can do what we want with that. I just try to use, since we're using the vehicle and personnel for dam patrols, I just try to offset that. And it seems like based on what we're available to do dam patrols, we're getting about roughly 6,000 to 8,000 a year. I haven't seen what we've done this summer yet, but right now I'm comfortable at 6,000 for the next Tahoe.
Your thoughts?
On the Everett Dam, wasn't there talk prior that the expectation was that was possibly going to be used towards vehicles?
Yes, that's always been our expectation. We started those right after Chief French actually started the contract, so I started them pretty much right upon my arrival 5 years ago. Obviously, staffing was a hindrance at that time, but now that we're almost fully staffed, we get these done on a fairly regular basis.
don't see any problem with the request.
I don't either. What do you need from us, Beth? Anything? You okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm good with that. I can just take that information and make my CIP proposal. Thank you. All right, next, I believe this is year 3 of the New Hampshire Department of Highway Safety Grant. It's for fiscal year 2025. The instructions on how to complete this, everything under the highlight yellow on the first copy. We're getting the same amount as last year's award for proactive patrols, which is $9,200. In this packet, you'll see a copy of the application summary. We're required to match 25%, which is $2,300. That's 25% of the $9,200. And we obtain our match through the use of a vehicle during these patrols and administration of the grant. Hourly rate of employees. Myself and Corporal Valero primarily. But we've never had a trouble matching grant. Matter of fact, I just saw Q3's report, and we're over $1,000 over our match from the time we spend managing this.
And that's a good thing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a problem. It's
Usually when you say over, that's not a good thing. That's why I just
yeah,
wanted to
no,
make sure.
it's just how much time we use to spend. We are easily fulfilling our requirement. We do get good results with the grant. We did get, I believe, either 1 or 2 DUIs when we were doing the DUI portion as a result of the officers out there on the street from Grant. When I was a hands-free, we had several we meet the state requirements for these grants, so they like us doing these grants.
I remember scrutinizing this last year and then not,
Yep.
like, it all.
Same forms.
Yep, came out just fine.
Any questions?
Nope.
Good. Okay. I'll accept a motion to accept the Department of Highway Safety Grant number 25193 in the amount of $9,200. Further, to allow Chair Matthews and Chief Moore to sign the grant application. Anyone like to move that?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Bloom, seconded by Pratt. Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes or yay.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? I'll abstain. Motion passes. Okay.
And then I just need you to sign blocks 1.11 and 1.12 on page 1. And then I'll take care of everything else. 111 and 112. Should be right in the middle of the page.
Yep. Sign and print, I assume. Correct? Name and title? That would be print, that'd be sign?
Make it easy.
Third year.
Yeah.
Everything's a process. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And lastly, printer agreement. So this is an agreement renewal. It is under $5,000, so it doesn't have to go out to bid. The second page is an excellent reference. So I was notified in July, the quarterly cost went up from $410.68 to $472.28 quarterly. That's for the maintenance agreement on the printer. The lease payments monthly are $185.59. It does include toner, limited by the number of copies. Sometimes we go over, but it's not much. The annual budget for the printer, for the maintenance and the lease was being raised to $4,116.08 annually. I have a budget in that line of $3,750, so I would have asked for that line to go up. They did propose a new printer, which was actually reduced. The annual cost they combine it now rather than separating maintenance and the lease payment. but the combined payment, which still includes all toner, labor, and everything else that we were getting with the previous printer, is $3,780. So I still will have it requested increase in that line, but it'll only be $30 rather than several $100s. So I'm requesting approval to sign the new printer agreement, which, if I'm not mistaken, is a 5-year agreement, or 3 years, 5-year.
So is this the photocopier service line, or?
Yes. It's in the officer's lounge, if you recall it, over at the station. Officer's office.
Questions for the chief?
I hadn't heard of the company that made the new printer, but it's a Japanese company that's been in business since like right after World War II, so good reputation, high ratings. No problem there. The copier is actually worth $20,000 because I had to get insurance certificates from Primex on those too. I've already got those, so they're ready to get sent off once I get approval to sign the agreement.
Yeah, I'm trying to find any way to identify this agreement, like a date or anything, to be able to make a motion.
So there's a date at the bottom where I sign it. You can just make it for tomorrow when I sign it and send it back in. Under customer acceptance.
Well, I guess I was looking for a date from them, like,
Date they bid it?
yeah. Well, okay, I move that we authorize Chief Moore to sign the technology agreement from Visual Edge IT for a new
Copier contract.
copier contract with a term of 63 months.
With the funds coming from?
I should have let you do this. Funds to come from
Photocopier service?
photocopier service, number 624. Thank you.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor, yes or yay? Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes.
That concludes my business. Thank you very much.
That concludes your business? That was a lot. So you'll come back next week and talk about the lease contracts for Toby Hill and Norris?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Next week, you'll bring us back the Toby Hill and Norris Road?
them as soon as I get them.
Okay. And we owe you a decision on graphics?
Yeah, no rush.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Unless you want me to put it in my warrant article exactly what it would be. But like, I've got a couple estimations, so my vehicle's estimated, I haven't heard back from McCulkin Chevrolet because the state bid list isn't out. And then, Ospey Mountain told me to add 10% to last year's, which I think is quite high, but
Wow.
to be safe, he's like, add 10%. I was like, okay. Okay. Thank you.
It's all right. Next on the agenda is the East Ware Pine Grove Cemetery trees. I think this might be a carryover. I'll just give you an update on what we've done. You know, we talked about it last week, and I did a summary of our discussion that we talked about let me back up. We had the site walk, and then we came back here the following Monday and talked about what we found at the site walk. So I did send a summary of that to TA Bolton since she wasn't here. And I'm waiting to hear back as to who's gonna meet me out there, or how do I mark the trees so that we can do the new RFP. So I don't have any update other than that, so we'll continue to move that forward as we can. Okay, next is the lawn care maintenance RFP. There's 3 different documents. We've talked about the fire to some degree already. One was cemeteries and the other is just municipal lawn care. So I'm thinking that if we were to accept the proposal from Chief Rorick, we could do away with the lawn care specific document and roll in the lawn care at the safety complex and South Station into the municipal descriptions. Under regular lawn care and maintenance. It is there already on number 5 on page 2 for the town safety complex. And South Ware Fire Station's under number 14. So maybe we can just do away with the document altogether, should we agree that fire's gonna take over cisterns, hydrants, and fire ponds.
Yeah, I think his proposal seems reasonable, and it seems, you know, that if they only have to buy, as he said, a couple of $1,000s worth of equipment, then it should pay for itself. Where'd that go? In 2 years? Because he was talking about dropping the line item.
Right, but he wants to reallocate that over to cistern maintenance. Not just dropping the money.
He's talking reducing it to like 7 though,
Right.
so $1,700.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
guess
I'm not sure. I guess maybe I should have asked a clarifying question on what was your payback analysis of 2 years based on the full amount or the
dropping it down to
dropping it down?
7,000.
Okay,
I roughly called that about $1,000 cut,
okay.
and roughly $2,000 worth of equipment. And trying to give each of those some squish there. I guess, Beth, a question, what was that, what is that line spent on today, the fire department lawn care maintenance line?
It's $590.
But what is it? Oh, line number 590. I thought you were telling me how much it had in it.
No, it's line number 590.
How much is in it
How much, what is that spent on today?
for this year?
Sure.
Okay, because we're only short 1 month. So we spend $87.25 a year for the fire department lawn care. It's 3 years.
And that but that covers safety complex,
No,
south.
that is in your municipal.
So it is what was on this RFP. This is,
Oh, you guys have a new one? Oh, I'm sorry, I got last year's. So. the
No,
current
it's just
contract
it's
that
a
we have-
draft RFP, it's not a contract.
So
but,
the current municipal lawn care has the stations on it.
yep. Okay,
The fire department is just cisterns.
Great.
Hydrants and ponds.
great, okay. And what I was the reason I asked that question, I was just looking for a catch of like, oh, did something shift over to municipal and that's where that money's gonna go? But no, it's like,
Nope,
It's
Seems-
1 for 1.
yeah.
it's just,
And man, I should have asked him. He said they're out there usually twice a year. But but then he said the lawn care would likely be monthly. So I meant to ask how he would reconcile that. If they're just gonna go ahead and go out,
I would think they'd have to.
yeah. I think we could also, given that what we're considering are 3-year terms, we could have the fire department try this out for,
Yeah, we could always add it in a future year, yeah. Doesn't
then-
have to be that if we do away with it, we can't ever go
Yeah.
back to contracting it out.
yeah, so we hit that break-even estimate of 2 years, catch up a little bit, and if 3 years are like, nope, we're overwhelmed, things have changed, then just dust this off. So, yeah, I propose we go through with his recommendation for the fire department side of things.
Dave?
I mean, with the number of, locations, I mean, there's gonna be weekly visits, I would imagine, trying to keep up with everything.
He had said monthly, but
Well, that they're
Guess
probably gonna have to do
rotating.
something every week.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not gonna be that
Right.
they're gonna be out there at each individual one every week.
yeah,
'cause-
so you'd have to do a quarter of them, 25% of them a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, but, correct me if I'm wrong, but these aren't extremely large patches of land that they've gotta go do. It's numbers of feet on the sides, right? So it's not like they're going out there for
Yeah, I
hours
guess-
on a riding lawnmower.
I guess it's what the scope actually is. Are we talking an hour per site? It's 34 sites.
I'd be surprised if it's that much, an hour. I mean, I can push mow my lawn in about an hour and 15 minutes.
I would include travel time in an hour.
Right, yeah, that's true.
So that would take this one right off then. We're just talking about the two.
Yep.
So I would assume they would be taking the truck to go out to these, because they would
The-
have to be able to respond as well.
Yeah, I was assuming the utility truck.
Utility
will
truck
pick
is what
up.
I thought, but
There's a call.
meet there.
Yeah, send one person with the utility truck and the mower. So, yeah, it's a good question.
That's my only concern.
Do you want that answered before we make a decision?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
I'm sure he's thought about it.
Well, I'm pretty certain they have a standard way that they do things, you know, they
Right.
do other things like that, so I'm pretty
Right.
certain they have a standard way that they do it, so. Meaning they do other things other than respond to calls, so. Okay,
Right, just want to make sure there's no delay in response.
okay. Did you guys get a chance to look through the other two?
Yeah, the cemeteries. So I went on to the site just to just kind of match between them. There's 14 cemeteries that aren't listed on here.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. There's like 36 on this list, and I thought we had anywhere from 50 to 54, depending on who's counting.
Yeah, and
Now, some of the cemeteries are on private property, and we don't actually maintain those.
no, I thought there was only one that, because I remember talking about this, and there was one that wants us to take it over. And she said that, I believe Town Administrator Bolton had said, because I asked a question about the one, because we talked about it a week before, and she said, no, that one's not by us. Because I thought she had said all the ones on there were owned or operated, maintained by the town, except for the one, so. Then I noticed the Elijah Dow Cemetery, which is the one next to my house. It's not on the cemetery, the town cemetery list. They have it as Eliza Dow on line 5, so it has to be updated. That's Elijah.
Number 5 on page 2.
Yes,
Instead of E-L-I-Z, it's E-L-I-J.
correct. Yeah, but there's, like I said, 14 that aren't on here. They're the Bean Burial Place, Brown Cemetery, Cram Burying Grounds, Harvard's Yard, John Gillette, Maplewood Road, Mudgett Burying Ground, on Rogers Land. Some of these are probably private. Prince Cemetery, Reed Cemetery, Reeves Yard, Tomb in South Ware, which is probably South Ware, but actually there is no South Ware. And then Wells Courier Burial Lot. Then they have a cemetery in East Ware on the river and flood control area. So,
Okay.
I don't know what the expectation is, or if there is any with those. My other comment is from contract term down. They should probably all match. Slight discrepancies between them. So from 3 to 9.
I'm sorry, what do you mean match?
As far as the statements, so some of them do, some of them are slightly different.
Oh, between the two documents?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was like, what do you mean match? Match what? Hey, I'm with you now, sorry.
Like number 5, a little bit of difference between them. Um, 6C. Oh, also 2D. Yeah, and 2D, the municipal states that there's got to be coordination between the transfer station and the contractor about moving debris or bringing debris there. Such site shall be approved of ahead of time with the town and the disposal site manager.
Which one are you on?
I'm on 2D.
2D, on which document?
Okay, the one I'm looking at is the municipal. Well, I guess they don't match. 2D does not match. I think 2D on the municipal should be the one that stays, or there should be on both.
And what if they want to dispose of it, but not at the transfer station?
Properly at locations such as.
Yeah, okay.
Transfer.
Okay. And the cemeteries don't get fertilized? There's 2E for fertilized program on municipal lawn care, but there is no 2E for fertilizer on cemeteries, so.
The 2E only calls out playing fields, gazebo area being used by
Right,
the cheer programs.
right, that there's no equivalent.
Well, likewise, there's no equivalent for any of the, like, around safety complex or Chase Park, whatever.
Okay. All right.
So, remember earlier, a few weeks ago, I'd mentioned that it was probably like end of July or so, but the Elijah Dow Cemetery, the weeds had grown to, 2-3 feet tall, and, it's not a lot of grass in there, so I understand not mowing it. But they did come out after, and someone did a cut. I'm assuming it was our contracted company, but I think maybe we could add, a midsummer mowing or something, just to,
Under all cemeteries?
no, it would be under 3, so it does fall under, the following cemeteries will receive a spring and fall cleanup, which
Got it.
shall include mowing, but also add that there be a midsummer mowing.
Okay.
One midsummer mowing.
In the cemetery one, section 3, paragraph 2, there's mowings. It has an apostrophe that it shouldn't.
Yeah, I think that number 1, 2, and 3 don't belong under number 3.
Yeah, because really 3-1 belongs to 2.
Right.
Yeah, agreed.
And 3, 2, and 3 are almost standalone.
Right.
Yeah, I would make 3, 2, and 3, 3 items 4 and 5, and move 3, 1 under 2.
Okay. There's a whole attachment related to adding the library grounds and Parks and Rec additions.
If I remember right, we said we would include the library going forward, but just weren't able, we didn't commit to taking care of it before this contract begins. That's my memory of the discussion with Clay about this, when he was here.
Yeah, and we told him we would put it into the new RFP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so his definitions, 2A, I think that's covered already in section 2A.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be incorporated into the document, but that's what he's provided to us.
The only thing that really isn't in there is the cutting back
Beds.
of the perennials.
Okay. I thought the garden club used to do this kind of stuff. I know that it's hard to find volunteers to do anything anymore.
Yeah, it's, last I heard, they were asked to stop.
Oh. Well, then that's probably why they're not doing it anymore. And they're not, they're not one of our departments or anything,
Yeah.
committees or anything. They're just other citizens.
I'm not even suggesting that was recently, I just seem to remember that.
Okay. No, and I wasn't suggesting that they've done anything recently either. It was just a general, way back in the day.
Yep.
Garden clubs around the world, at least in the United States, used to do this kind of stuff. There's a whole sheet on Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I think same thing. On some of this section, what they have is section 1A6. I think that's covered in 2A. I think actually everything in spring and fall cleanup, I think, is covered in 2A.
Well, I think what they were calling out is that the opening weekend may be before what they were starting up for spring on some of these other properties. May just, like,
Maybe a
that
week,
it-
week before.
yeah, it says it just has to be complete prior to opening weekend, which I don't remember when that usually is. I should-
Yeah, and how would the contractor know that?
Was an opening date generally Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
So we'd have to have a caveat that that be a week before. Well, it says complete prior to.
Yeah, prior to opening weekend.
In the contract, well, it could be, and I guess what I was thinking is maybe, I was assuming it, oh, it's a cleanup though. So, I mean, it should be done by then anyway, right?
Well, I can understand why Park would want to make sure,
Yep.
but how does the contractor know?
Well, there's similar language for, in the cemetery one, about Memorial Day.
Right.
Could be.
Well,
could be like-
Memorial Day is, it's a national holiday. They know when Memorial Day is. So I would want Park to be more specific as to what day or date. Like the third
Yeah.
Friday or
Sure.
1 week before Memorial Day, something that's specific
Yeah,
and
they
measurable.
can put it on their calendar.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do we own the 5 feet outside the fence around the tennis courts? Yeah, I don't
Pretty sure
know.
we do.
Okay, I don't know. I'm asking because it's very specific and I want to make sure we're not cutting somebody else's property.
Well, I know that came up just because there has been some overgrowth in the last year or two. And then I'm guessing, because I thought they did the 5 foot around the Bolton playground. Did I make it into
It's a
here?
skate park.
No,
One
it's
below
in there,
that.
section
Yeah.
1C11, 5 foot radius around outer perimeter of the playground fence.
Okay.
I think that one, because it grows so fast, it's not lawn around that, like the playground, or, I'm sorry, like the tennis courts and the, I guess tennis courts are the parking lot there. So the playground, they were like trying to do this big buffer, to make it between the two cleanups.
I thought there was a 5-foot call out in the municipal. Maybe I was wrong. Must have saw it somewhere else. That's spring cleanup. Spring cleanup shall also include removal or disposal of all trash, dethatch, or removal of thatch, maintaining a minimum distance of 5 feet cleared of all brush, vines, etc., from the edges of the ball field. Okay.
Okay.
So we want that under edging and weeding, then, right? No.
Though the edging and weeding as it exists is only the spring, and they were asking for spring and fall on the tennis courts and regular around,
So those have to be special,
oh, no, I'm mixing things up.
special callouts.
Yeah, they said a regular basis for the weeding and cutting around Bolton. That's what the request was, at least. The E3 language is, it refers to the timing of the patriotic celebration, which, like your remark about the Chase Park opening day, it'd be nice to be able to provide something more specific for that, but it does move around a lot.
Mm-hmm. So this looks like a big, big change in scope from what we've got now. So we'd expect that this is gonna cost us a lot more money. So how are we gonna pay for it? I have something in my eye. It's been in there for at least an hour. And maybe I misunderstand, but to me it seems like it's a big, big change in scope.
Well, the two big things are the library, but they're already mowing right there around Stone Building anyway.
Yeah, and that's a relatively small lot. I mean,
Yep.
but adding all this park stuff seems like it's a huge change in scope.
Well, I wonder how much how much is duplicated? Because it looks really long, but then, okay, spring and fall cleanup. Like, Chase Park is already there. I think that call out is just the timing of the opening weekend. Tennis courts already there. They have perimeter around court, slope end and back, so I would suggest that 2 of the 4 sides are already covered, and they're just asking for the other 2. And I think even if it just crossed, if we X'd out slope and in back, may cover what they're asking for. Skate park fence area is already listed there, so they're calling out inside and outside of fence. 5-foot radius outside.
So is this not getting done now? Because it looks like it should be, no?
Well, that's what I think Selectman Bloom is saying, that this is not really a change in scope. Some of this is already in there.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, but if
because
they-
it's a lot of the same complaints we talked about last year on Park, they would prefer if they were, in some cases, I think the ones they're calling out, if they were being done a little bit more, like doing the fence inside and outside. I think maybe right now it's only being done outside and there's some overgrowth leading inside. And sometimes it's being left there. So I think that was why they're just calling it out, like, hey, if you're doing the fence, do both sides of the fence.
So it is a tad increase in scope, but it's not a completely new line added.
Well, I think it's, yeah, it could be read that way, certainly. You could also say, if the current contract says fence area,
Right, why isn't it
why,
inside?
right, why is only the outside being done sometimes? I do agree Chase Park is moving into the seeding and liming grass area, prevent erosion, so that's new. And then the Bolton playground is new. Though I do think this section 1C11 is, yeah, I think everything under weeding and edging is actually just a repeat of everything above. Yeah, in fact, that's all it is.
So that entire section is just restating what's already been included. Okay. Yeah, and it even, at the very end, says, note, we're adding seeding and liming. Okay.
So I would call that 3 clarifications and 2 additions.
Okay.
The Bolton is, it's not a small area to go around.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it's on a slope. 2 sides of it are flat. I guess so like we went out with the Cub Scouts last year because it had gotten so out of control, and we had like, I don't know, 10, 15 adults and a bunch of kids, and we were there 4 hours to get it all done.
Wow.
That's because it hadn't been done in
Yeah.
quite a while. So I think if it were being kept up with, like, brush hogging almost, this area they're talking about twice a year. And then regular maintenance around the fences. I think it would keep it up. I'm gonna get some water.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
You had to make it make noise, did you? That thing is loud. You can hear it on the video.
Can you?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the water cooler. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the information related to RSA 154 and the fire chief's hiring authority. This is in response to prior Selectman Hippler's public comments on July 22nd, 2024. He had come and stated that he thought RSA 154:1 1B applied. So T.A. Bolton did some research, and she's included that in an email that she sent to all of us, to Mr. Hippler and to Chief Rorick on 9/20, and it reads, "Good afternoon. Attached you will find the town warrant articles I could find regarding the fire department, Board of Fire Wards, and RSA 154 that Rick Hippler asked about." Again, that was on July 22nd, 2024. Article 44 from the 1978 town meeting. The town adopted an ordinance relative to fire protection in the town of Ware, establishing guidelines and regulations for the administration of the town of Ware Volunteer Fire Department. In 1995, we had Article 8 in the town meeting to have the Board of Fire Wards appoint the fire chief for a one-year term. In 2013, Article 26 would have the Board of Fire Wards appoint the fire chief for an indefinite period per RSA 154:1(1)D. That passed yes affirmatively. 2023, Article 20 was to disband the fire wards, or Board of Fire Wards, and return control of the fire department back to the Board of Selectmen and be governed as described in RSA 154:1(1)B. So that was the question, and stating here that that is correct. Fire chief appointed by the local governing body or by the town or city manager, if any, with firefighters appointed by the local governing body or manager upon recommendations of the fire chief. If approved, this change will be effective 1 year, and it was approved. It passed in, the article passed in 2023. Anyone being hired or rehired would go through the same channels as police, DPW, or other departments. The chief, meaning the fire chief, would recommend the hiring. The board would interview that individual and the fire chief presented, and the board would then hire if they so choose to. So anything else related to this topic, please let her know. You can see she's included Mr. Hippler and Fire Chief Rorick, so that we're all on the same page. So that closes that item. We did, I think, a good job of answering that. Any comments? All right, that brings us to manifests. So dated September 23rd, I would order the treasurer to sign the payroll and accounts payable checks dated September 6, 2024, as included in the following manifests. Payroll manifest, $104,269.35. Accounts payable manifest, $89,349.20. John Stark accounts payable manifest, $250,000. And Ware School accounts payable manifest, $250,000, for a total of $693,618.55. I'm not sure if I said the words "to move," make the motion, but if not, please correct that, and that would be my motion.
I'll second.
Seconded by Selectman Bloom. Any discussion? All in favor say yes or yay. Yes? Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion passes 300. Thank you. We have a few minutes here. I have the August 26th minutes and September 16th minutes, but not the September 9th. Did I miss them, or do you guys find them?
I could not find them either.
Okay. Not found. So we're still waiting on September 9. Did you guys
May
get a
have been the
chance?
day the video was really choppy.
And probably, I think it went to 2 different videos, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure. Did you get a chance to review these?
The 26th, yes.
Okay,
26th.
all right. Are you collecting changes, or am I?
I can.
You sure? All right. Let us know when you're ready. Okay?
Line 72. We're at the end of the sentence, constantly wither needs, I think it should be further needs. Line 87. I believe after the word thank, it should be the board. But then on line 128, should be, gave the information, or gave his information to be contacted by the dispatcher.
So contact is contacted and add to.
Gave his information to get contacted by the dispatcher.
We would have given it to the dispatcher.
He did, the way he worded it was awkward, but yeah, that the dispatcher would be able to contact him. The other person,
Ah, okay.
he said he did not clear. Oh, maybe that's gonna be added in too.
Yeah, I thought he was talking
Mr.
about the fact
Ripple
that
said
he called and,
that he did not clear. Sorry. Mr. Ripple said that he did not clear, and he gave his information to be contacted by the dispatcher.
okay. You want to repeat that one more time?
Yes. So Mr. Riopel stated that he did not clear and he gave his information to be contacted by the dispatcher. Did I boggle that up enough?
Just want to make sure it was caught, that's all. You good?
Yeah, Mr. Ripple stated that he did not clear and that he gave his information to get contacted by the dispatcher.
Thank you.
Thank you.
380, line 380, BOS. That could meet standards conquered by Manchester. I think he said conferred, but I'm not really sure what what he said. I didn't actually watch that. But Concord doesn't seem correct. I think he was trying to state that, so town of Ware will have the same authorities as, Manchester, Salem.
I think he was listing the city of Concord.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Concord is Concord. With a capital C. ONCORD.
It would just be Concord, Manchester.
Yeah.
I really like that there's authorization of the BOS that could meet standards of Concord, Manchester, Salem, Portsmouth.
Yeah.
I think on line 456, Selectman Bloom expressed concerns about using end-of-year surplus funds. It was about the budget and using end-of-year surplus funds. Wasn't really about the budget being over, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
.488. Instead of Selectman Pratt said, it should be Selectman Pratt clarified. I'm sorry, let me take that back. On line 488, at the end of the sentence, F.A. Rouse said that, it should be F.A. Rouse clarified. .501. So the discussion was about cameras on the building, exterior and interior. It doesn't really state that. It's kind of awkward. T.A. Bolton explained that in annual training, it was brought up that they were all concerned. Not,
I think on 501, it's regarding ARPA funds and how they can be expended, not expanded.
yeah.
But to your point, it sounds like they were concerned about expending ARPA funds. The way the two sentences roll into each other.
Yeah, I don't know, because she was talking about the camera, then they said they were asked if they did active shooter training as something. and
The
that was-
annual training had to do with First Amendment auditors.
Okay. So then, there's nothing there, then, except for expended.
Okay.
Well, still, on 502, the "it" doesn't refer to anything. That "it" is the First Amendment auditors, but it was also a bigger topic of, folks in the building.
So on 502, change it to First Amendment auditors.
I think so.
Okay.
And then plural was to were.
Line 520. In the amount of $30,000.
I got that one already.
Lines 541 to 543 should be bolded, consistent with everything else. 554 to 556.
You had a big question mark there.
Yeah, so his concern was on the number of references, and I'm not sure how this fits in, just looking at. 3 listed on one, 4 on the other. The large number of towns were not references, but towns worked for. Somehow, I get it.
And we also clarified that the RFP request was for a minimum of 3, so.
Correct. Did you make anything out of that, or?
So Vice Chairman Knapp said that he was in favor of the company that only had 3 references,
3 references.
but the concern as to why one would list many, did you say town references?
Okay, so yeah, but the concern as to why one would list many
One
references.
company or one respondent.
And only 3 was a concern with the other. And Selectman Pratt said, well, there was a discussion, basically I said that is the number, that is the number of towns they worked for. They only have 4 references. I think that clears that up.
In that motion of 560, the motion was contingent on contacting the references. The acceptance was.
Yes. And Selectman Drury seconded. That's all I had.
Are you confirming that? Great. I had line.
Yes, it was pending a favorable reference check.
Great. Line 398. It says Salem Bloom of 90 Duck Pond Road is posted. I think that just needs to repeat of 90 Duck Pond Road, like all the other ones, and then said Duck Pond Road is posted.
I think it should elaborate that you were speaking as a private citizen.
I took that it did because it dropped the selectmen, but I guess fine, if you'd rather clarify it.
Okay. Is that it? Oh, okay. Line 331, change hearing to comment period specific to Isley's. Ilsley's. Thank you. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that.
Sorry, Dave, did you correct 334, the spelling of complainant already?
No.
Okay. Yeah, line 334, complainant. It's spelled wrong.
Line 623, if you could add an of, transfer of legal issues. Line 631, I believe we discussed potential interviewees. We didn't discuss hiring. Interviewees and an interview schedule. We didn't actually discuss hiring anyone. We discussed interviewing.
Yeah.
And line 557, strike agreement. There's a termination for cause and convenience, and on line 558, clause, add clause to the end, or clauses. Anything else?
Yeah, I guess just a reminder, and maybe I should bring it up again next week. The non-public minutes have to be posted within 72 hours, not 5 days.
Mhm.
And we started doing that for a short period of time, and then it kind of dropped back to this where they get lumped together.
Yeah, and, you know, we seem like overall on minutes, we get better, and we slide back.
Yep.
We get better, and we slide back. So we've really, really got to get this done. It's aggravating as, you know what.
When reading through this one, I thought back to our conversation about making them
Yeah, I mean, it's a transcript.
a bit more
Close,
succinct, yeah.
close to it. And, you know, I've said my piece on that at least 5 times. We should not be providing transcripts.
And I think that's what we decided, was start tacking towards more succinct, and then
Right.
we'll correct if it goes too far.
Right. Okay, so we have not reviewed the minutes of 9/9 or 9/16. We don't have minutes from 9/9. We do have minutes from 9/16. But we need to make a motion. I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes of August 26th as modified this evening. Is there a second? Or anyone like to move that, I guess, is more
So
appropriate.
moved.
Thank you, David. Moved by David Pratt, Selectman Pratt. Anyone second?
Second.
Selectman Bloom provided the second. Any further discussion? All in favor say yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Motion passes 3-0. Okay, I've got a few things under correspondence and other business, and I'll go through those if you guys want me to, and then you can chime in. Maybe they're the same. We do have a engagement letter from Drummond Woodsum, which we need to sign. This is signing what we already voted affirmatively on August 26th in public session to award the legal contract to Drummond Woodson So once we notified them, they sent this back over and said, please sign this, so I believe you all have a copy of this as well. So hopefully you've read through it, and any issues with us signing it this evening?
No issue.
None.
No? There's only one signature place on this, so I don't know. I'm assuming that you guys are gonna want me to sign it, and we'll need to make a motion for that. Or
How can that be
we,
identified?
or we need to have the town administrator sign it.
I'll move that we authorize the chair to sign the engagement letter with Drummond Woodsum dated September 3rd, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor, say yes or yay.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? I will abstain. Motion passes 201. So that goes back there. Okay. We did get an email from Mr. Mann regarding the Mildred Hall Advisory Committee providing information related to our Article 25 discussion last week. Thank you, Mr. Mann. I've asked T.A. Bolton verbally on 9/19 to validate the data provided prior to us including it in that matrix. In addition, I've also asked for an explanation as to why acceptance of dollars related to the headstone repair from the Eastman Fund were treated as an external donation, if in fact those are really town funds. So I'll keep you posted on that.
I'll just echo, that was a very helpful email.
It was very helpful. Attachments and everything.
Yeah.
Center Square Cemetery headstone repair. This contract was returned to us, signed by Cornerstone. So on September 19th, a copy of that was forwarded to Ms. Sherry Burdick, who's the project overseer for the vote. To get an email from Brad Carr regarding Oil Mill Cemetery. He wanted to know if there is a directory or lot plan for that cemetery and where you might get it. Selectman Pratt was gracious enough to give me the address, thank you. And I haven't taken any action on that, but just wanted to acknowledge that we have an action there. And 9/17, I asked Finance Administrator Rouse the question related to the solar grant and how we might be able to fund that, so I haven't received any information from her. I know she's here, I don't know if it's something she wants to talk about or not.
I just told you we're gonna stop in the next day to see me.
Who told you that?
Tia did.
Oh,
The chairman's gonna come talk to you about. Oh, all right, I'll get that to you.
no, I sent you an email.
Yeah, and then she sent me.
Oh,
one
well,
saying
maybe she thought I was coming to see you instead of sending you an
Yeah,
email.
so I went, that's fine. I'll
Okay.
send it to you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's all I have. What did I miss?
I got, Tom Flaherty had sent an email asking to be put on the agenda for the, some updates being made to the Tramp House, but later told us that that was not necessary because the Historical Society owns the Tramp House through Article 33 on that they found in the 1973 town report, which they purchased for $1. So there'll
So
be
no action.
there'll be updates coming to the Tramp House. I've got the Conservation Commission had sent an email around. I think he copied the Board of Selectmen about the Phelps Farm harvest. And if you guys agree, I think it'd probably be nice to present it either Conservation or the Board of Selectmen, just to go over.
Yeah, I think it would be more appropriate for them to do it than us.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, we can
So-
certainly ask them to do that.
Yeah. I'll s-
Suggest that they do anyway.
I'll
can't
send an
demand
email
anything,
to
but-
Andy. I'll respond back and just ask if he can put it on the agenda, just for kind of give a 10,000-foot overview of what it is and what it means. That's all I have for correspondence.
Anything?
You covered what I had.
Okay. I did have two documents that were in our sign document case today that I think we should talk about. The first one is a notice to cut wood or timber, notice of intent to cut wood or timber. This is for tax number 406-11. So I have no issue with it. I showed it to you guys before. I don't think you did either, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign.
Yeah, and I think your point was there was an RSA that said these have to be signed in public.
Yes, thank you. It's getting late. I'm getting tired. I believe that under RSA 79-10, we cannot sign that document non-contemporaneously unless it's been posted on our meeting at least 24 hours in advance. And it was not listed as a specific agenda item, so we talked about it, therefore we can sign it. And it's the 23rd, not the 24th. And just zoning board, this is from Mary Green, excuse me, Mary Ann Green in the assessing department. She's asking us to sign off on a street name, and this is a result of zoning board case number 16-2024, and that allowed for a single-family home to be placed on an undeveloped 11.4 acre lot with access off of a deeded right-of-way. As a result, 911 addressing standards, any driveway that provides access to 3 or more addressable structures should be assigned a road name, and the structure should be addressed from the new road. So this is just establishing that street name of Heritage Way. And there are applications for voluntary change of address from all of the affected parties that have been signed off. So they're just looking for the Board of Selectmen approval on that name. So I believe all we have to do is sign this, all 3 of them, so. Looks in order to me. And again, all driven off the 911 system. There's a couple things here to sign. Okay. So I think that brings us to the agenda for 9:30. We talked about the joint meeting with Conservation Commission last time, and I think they want to try and do that on the 30th.
Yes.
Sounds good. That'll be on the Forester RFP content and RFP scoring before the RFP gets released. We had a citizen request to discuss the Ware Food Pantry. And we had a citizen request for a notarized affidavit signed by the Board of Selectmen regarding a specific parcel's tax record. Details, I think, on both of those items are in your email inboxes. So I feel like last time we discussed something related to the calendar on 9:30, specific to the agenda, and I could not find anything in my notes. You take excellent notes.
From last week?
Yeah, from last week. Thank you. I'm just making stuff up.
Not good enough.
Nope. Okay. Okay. Anything else I need to add for the 30th? Specifically?
You get the items I had, so.
Okay. I guess if we have time, we'll start doing those sealed minutes that we talked about. And just as a reminder, we're not meeting on Columbus Day, the 14th of October. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
If we're gonna try and fit in sealed minutes, we have to get them and have them there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just if we can. I'll see what actually makes it to the agenda, and if there's time,
Great. Okay.
we'll do that.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you for the reminder.
Before you adjourn, excuse me, can you make a motion on Jason's Matthew?
Oh, yes.
I didn't do that.
No, we had.
Thank you, thank you.
No, thank you. I thought I did that. It's written here on my paper.
Yes.
Yep.
You motioned it, you seconded it?
Nope,
Oh.
no. It's here on my paper, but I didn't do it.
To do?
No. I'll accept a motion to hire Matthew Hoseni. I'm horrible with pronunciation.
I thought at least Jason said Hosney.
Hosny. Hosny.
Talking about the same guy.
Hozeny. Matthew is the first name. For a part-time position of truck driver laborer at a rate of $30 per hour with the start date of November 1st, 2024.
And did you say part-time?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. You're looking for a motion?
I'm looking for a
All right,
motion.
so moved.
Motion made by Bloom, seconded by Selectman Pratt. Any further discussion? All those in favor say yes or yay?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, motion passes 3-0-0. Good, thank you very much, Beth. That would have been not good. Okay, now we'll go back to motion to adjourn. I will motion to adjourn at 10:18 PM.
Do we need to do anything else to formalize our continuing to tomorrow?
Don't
I don't think so.
think so.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, just a reminder, I guess. We're back at 5:30 tomorrow. Maybe save some money.
So are you suggesting that we don't adjourn this meeting?
Oh,
Is that what you were suggesting?
yes, it is now what I'm suggesting.
So is that the right course?
Motion to continue tomorrow.
Motion to continue this meeting. I will accept a motion to continue this meeting at 10:18 PM this evening. I will accept a motion to continue this meeting until, what do we say?
5:30?
5:30 tomorrow PM for the purpose of reviewing the two DPW items.
Yep, secondary confinement RFP and landfill cap RFP.
secondary confinement RFP, and landfill cap RFP.
Did you make that motion?
I will make that motion.
No, she,
I'll make it,
to
that's fine.
accept it. No, I'll move it.
Okay. Okay, so it is moved by Selectman Pratt,
Second.
seconded by Selectman Bloom. Any further discussion? All in favor, yes or yay?
Yes.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Okay, motion passes 3-0-0. We are continued till tomorrow at 5:30 PM.